Hi folks, meet Scott Britton. He's a product application specialist for Caterpillar's small wheel loader line. Scott, the M series has just come out. We just seems like we just introduced the K series, and now we've got the M's to meet Tier 4 emissions final emissions results. But this machine is really interesting because you bumped up the engine size and the horsepower. But this machine's how much more fuel efficient than the K's?
Relative to our K series product, you're looking at about a 5% efficiency gain relative to the G and H series product, which is still very popular out there. A lot of customers still running. You're talking about 35% fuel efficiency gains in fuel and fuel alone. Now we're not talking about the total, combined workload of how much material we're moving. I'm talking about purely fuel. I'm talking 35% versus our G and H. 5% versus our K.
Now that's in a two-mode context, right? For the two engine modes on this
essentially,
machine.
yeah. So as standard on that product, on that M series product, you're getting what we call the HP Plus button, okay? So on the so-called standard mode, no lights are lit, you've got your horsepower, we got it kind of dialed down, and our engineers did that, very wise the way they did it. So we're limiting our RPM as well. So we bumped that down to 1600. If I'm on load and carry applications, if I'm doing basic kind of work with it. So I'm doing the same amount of work, the same times that I am with my K, but I'm getting better fuel efficiency with my M. Now on 4, I'm actually going to allow me to go up a little bit in my horsepower. So I'm doing roading in that standard mode still yet. I can carry that product on where I need it to get it to, and get my run out speed. And then I hit the HP Plus button, and it unleashes everything that machine is capable of doing. So I'm bumping my engine RPM up to 1800. I'm remapping my fuel, and I'm really putting all that fuel to it to get that that horsepower where I really need it to be. So if I'm doing climbing really steep grades, I'm doing heavy loading runs, I'm in dozing applications where that power is crucial. More so than the fuel efficiency gain. That's what allows me to do that. One simple button, every single product, on off.
Yeah, so we should mention you're talking about another half a liter of displacement with the 7.1 liter engine, right? It was a 6.6 before.
It was a 6.6 in the past.
Right, right.
We bumped up to the 7.1.
Okay, and was rated RPM on the Ks, was that 1800?
So even the Ks was 1800. So we specifically, when we designed that K series product, we were spinning the engine slower, but we consciously did that, and therefore any interface with it, any kind of pumps, the high stat, the entire system of that loader was designed to spin at that system. So our previous G and H was 2350, with all the pumps spinning that way. So we didn't just didn't spin the engine slower. We actually resized the entire system, so it's designed to be that way. So less wear and tear, certainly less fuel.
So do you come up on pump size, hydraulic pump size, and that sort of thing to
yes, you
make up
bump
some
your
of that
pump
difference?
size, to be able to do what you need it to do in your K series as well as your M series product. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. And so what else? Obviously with the M series, a lot of powertrain work here. What other kinds of features should people know about when they're looking at M series machines?
Like we said, fuel, absolutely, that's the most important. But we've also picked up tip load, kind of across the board between the 26 new product, 26, the 30, as well as the 38. So they all gained. The 38 gained the most. Specifically, it's gaining in the neighborhood of about 600 to 800 pounds as standard. So it really gets that baseline, that feel of that machine where it needs to be. Now all those supplemental weight packages can be added for different applications. Not every application needs that weight, so why carry that weight around? Right. So there's options that you can choose from, but you add them where you need them to be, and that's where you're going to allow you to get that kind of optimized weight to it. But the 38 took the biggest bump in the weight alone. So.
Right. And at the opposite end of these small wheel loaders, you went from a 924K to a 926. No, I'm sorry, 926 M. What are the primary difference? What's the driver there?
Right, so it's pretty significant when you look at a 24H series product and you look at a 24K series product, that it was a good bit bigger. Now it wasn't quite a 28, but it was definitely bigger than a 24. And we really missed an opportunity at that point to call that a 926K. If you ask any customer out there, you ask any of our dealership and any of our sales force anywhere, they'll say, yeah, that makes pretty good sense that should have been a 26. Going forward, we were able to update the nomenclature to it. We had a significant enough changes with some of our cab features, our engine, our weights, that it made sense, and that we were allowed to be able to go and bump that to a 26 to make sure, because we went up that scale even further. So now we have that 26M product and the 24K product. Well, the 24K is boom, you're different with them. So
right,
that's where your spread is at between them.
Right. So, so Scott, the K series high stat transmission had some really interesting mode features in it, and those were carried through. You should tell us a little bit about some of those.
Yeah, when that product first came out, I mean, we wanted a high stat transmission that operated like a torque converter, as crazy as that sounds. And our customers kept saying, I like it, can you make it a little bit smoother? And then our high stat customers who had been previous high stat, run those machines, said, well, I was really expecting it to, really have that aggressive high stat braking. And so our engineers went to work and they developed what we call the high stat operator mode. So I can make it run more like a torque converter, or I can make it run more like a high stat with just a couple simple button presses. And that was in the K series product. So, and that was developed and can be backwards, 100% backwards compatible to the very first machine ever come out of the factory on the K series product line.
Wow. Okay, and there's kind of an outgrowth of that ability to customize the performance of the machine. Tell us a little about that.
With that same kind of concept, I mean, and that's certainly still in the M series product, but with that same kind of baseline, we said, what else can we do with this? There's a lot of settings that can be, done, and sometimes they can be overwhelming. Well, we had application profiles. So I just simply get in and info settings, what am I doing today? I said, well, today I'm going to run the broom. So I probably want my kickouts turned off because I don't have any use for those. And I want continuous flow enabled, and I probably want to limit my speed. So that's simple. Well, maybe today I'm doing load and carry. Well, load and carry, I'm probably need to be about 15, 16 miles an hour. So we're going to put it in 3 to get my speed up a little bit. I'm going to repetitive cycles for my lift. I'll turn those kickouts on, and my tool is going to jump over to a fork or to a bucket mode, so I can have that quick reaction in my fork or my bucket as well. So that kind of concept, and there's a good 10 different profiles in there. And again, based on that customer feedback as to how much further we can go with that. So right there in that display, very simple to get to.
And that's something that the operator has control over. He can go in there and do that right on the.
And he can choose to do that, and in 22 different languages. So whenever he wants to, he can simply get in there, and it'll tell him what to do with it. And it's even going to say, hey, this is what I'm about to change. Does this look right? And you hit OK, and it'll change it. Now, certainly you're not locked into that. So if you say, well, I didn't really need that upper kick out set on, you just bump the button, it turns it off. But that's trying to hit your baseline as to where we think that it should be for an application, as to really what it needs to happen with it. So very clean to get to.
Interesting. Well, we see the trend with these these tier 4 solutions. They're bringing technology like that to improve productivity. So it's not just SCR you're adding to this machine.
Oh no, I mean, and a customer base. I mean, you could ask 100 customers, what kind of value do you see, that are you willing to bear for, because I've simply updated the engine to have cleaner emissions. They'll all tell you, cleaner emissions is important. Right. But it doesn't make them money at the end of the day to get that work done. Right. So if I can bring more, interfaces to it, I can bring more features to that product, like the fuel savings, like the additional tip loads. The system, like the various application profiles, any kind of thing built into it like that. We've got service, like preventative maintenance service modes built into that display. So all those different type of applications that you can put into it, that's what's bringing them features. It's getting them home at the end of the day.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Scott.
Absolutely.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.